Ain't nobody got time for whiskey that ain't worth the money. And that's what we're here to find out. We're tasting this totally blind so that we cut out all the bias and you get the most honest opinions possible. Let's get into this blind tasting.
Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Erin.
I'm Josh. Thanks for joining us. If you are new here, we are just hanging out, sipping some whiskey, completely unknown what's in our glass.
Yep.
And we do it this way, like we said, so you get the most honest opinions possible. We like to cut out all that bias because it's really easy to let it influence what you're tasting. And when we don't know what we're tasting, we don't have to worry about it. Super simple. So we've drawn this at random from our blind sample pool, full of a bunch of stuff. It could be almost anything. Color looks kind of faint straw-like, I would say.
Yeah, I'm trying to swirl it and it's not going well for me.
But when you're more like, it looks like you're having an earthquake over there. You're not, there's no circular motion.
Well, there's circular motion here, but there's no circular motion here.
It's like this. Very, very clean and simple. Oh, you're going clockwise. That's weird. I swirl counterclockwise. I didn't realize that until just now.
Sorry, we're already getting off the rails.
On the nose. By the way, as Erin's smelling this, let you know she's a social sipper. I am more of the whiskey nerd, so that's the dynamic we bring to this if you're new, and you can kind of put together our thoughts on this tasting based on that information.
Yeah. To me, this smells like whiskey. Like there's nothing off base about it. It smells like what I would expect whiskey to smell like.
Yeah, it smells, it's funny I said straw because I'm getting a little bit of like a hay type of note on this. But in a really nice way.
It's like a sweet hay.
Yeah, it's kind of like a, what do they call
It's
them?
a sweet hay.
It's definitely not that.
Yeah, it is.
It's like a fall wagon ride or something.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where they got hay ride.
Hay ride.
A fall wagon ride. I was literally just talking about hay.
Or there's that.
And I couldn't come up with hay ride.
It's okay.
That's the kind of day we're having here.
It's good.
Yeah.
It smells good. I'd like to drink it.
Yeah, I'm also getting just like a nice thread of caramel through this. A little bit of oakiness. Smells kind of bourbony. Let's get it on the palate.
It kind of has a toothpaste taste. Like you know how sometimes kids' toothpaste is fruit flavored or like, it's like
the blue kind.
the blue
toothpaste.
kids' toothpaste. Kids Crest.
That's
toothpaste.
crazy. There's got to be sugar in that stuff, right? They're pumping the kids full of sugar
I have
from
no
an
idea.
early on age.
I've honestly never looked at the ingredients for toothpaste.
That's an amazing
Never
note.
in my life.
It's like a sugary. It's a sugary sweet pour.
Mm-hmm. And it's a little bit watery.
A lot of it to me.
It is. It's like if you took the Crest Blue kids toothpaste and watered it down. That's kind of what this tastes like.
Kind of. Now, full disclosure, we do warm our palates up before we get into any of these tastings to make sure we're drinking something familiar that we know and we're familiar with the taste. That
of
we
whiskey,
know,
yeah.
that we know tastes right, so that we know that coming into this. And what the warmer upper was today was Four Roses small batch, which is not a high proof, powerful, robust pour. And this tastes quite a bit thinner than that to me.
I agree.
Right now.
Yeah.
But it is a little on the sweeter side.
Yeah, I have taken a second sip and the finish does build upon itself, but the viscosity of the liquid is still fairly thin. If you're, talking about thinness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're talking about thinness, then yeah, you are talking about thinness.
Sorry, I was just trying to fill the silence, okay?
The color of whiskey is quite light if you're talking about color.
Oh my gosh, stop.
Yeah. I mean, it is very thin. I would go out on a limb and say that this is smooth only because there's really not spice here.
I disagree. There's a mintiness that's there.
Mint is not
hence
spice.
The toothpaste. It can translate as spice. It sometimes translates as spice to me. I would imagine if it does that to me, it could also do it for other people.
Did you just say iota imagine?
I would imagine.
I thought you said iota imagine. I can't talk right. I can't hear right.
I would imagine that if it does that for me, it probably can do that for other people.
That's fair. However, I am going to say that I do not get a minty flavor off of Blue Kids toothpaste. I just get whatever flavor that is.
There's an undertone of mint.
And I'm not getting mint on here.
I am.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm trying to speak to what I'm getting.
Okay.
So The caramel comes through, and there's like this. I think it's the way that the oak is coming through. It's coming through in a present but not upfront kind of way, if that makes sense.
Clear and present danger.
Yeah, it's not clear and present oak. It's kind of in the background. It actually does add a little bit of a dynamic nature to the pour for being as watery or as smooth or silky or whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't call it silky. It doesn't really have body to it. It's just thin, like we said. But
yeah.
You have ratings for this?
Yeah. You?
Talk about them. Talk about them.
Well, I just can give you my ratings. It's just okay. For all the reasons I've outlined previously in my soliloquy.
Did you say just okay before that?
No.
Okay.
But I've talked about why it's just okay. Like literally up to this point.
I gotcha. I am going to go just okay as well. It's not bad. There's almost nothing inoffensive in this.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't like Blue Kids toothpaste, then you probably would find this offensive. But I kind of like Blue Kids toothpaste, so I don't find it offensive.
Which, again, we're dealing with very untraditional whiskey tasting notes with Blue Kids toothpaste. But yeah.
It's what I get. Like, you can't deny it. It's true.
I'm tasting it, and I'm with you. I'm not mad at the note.
Yeah.
I just think that, to give people a bit of an impression of what to expect off of this, like, it seems to be like that kind of entry-level bourbon profile, $25, $30 for a bottle, something in that range would not be uncommon for a pour like this. And there's nothing really remarkable about it. Nothing's really standing out, but at the same time, nothing's really offensive about it either. Yeah. It's kind of that middle-of-the-road type pour that we say sometimes.
Yeah, I do want to say, though, while on the nose, to me, it came across as a typical bourbon, typical whiskey like profile. On the palate, it is different, as evidenced by the fact that it tastes like toothpaste.
Yeah. We're going to find out the price, see if that changes how we feel before we find out what we're drinking. In our pool, this is number 95. Okay. So let's find out what we're working with.
Oh my gosh, this is $100.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Man, I got to go thumbs down, I think.
I do too. I don't think I mean, unless you love how this tastes, I wouldn't spend $100 on it.
Yeah, the value based on what I'm tasting in the glass right now for the experience. Now, keep in mind, we do tend to like things that are more flavorful. Aaron likes a really balanced, flavorful pour. I like a flavorful pour that's got some personality and maybe it's not quite so balanced. Maybe there's some things that jut out this direction or that direction. Maybe it's super fruity or super barrel influenced or super spicy or something. I like that kind of personality pour. This is none of those things. It's balanced, but it's pretty simple and it's very light. And for $100, I'm just not spending that.
And for the thinness of the liquid, I don't want to spend $100 on something that's thin.
Yeah. That's our rating, is before we find out what we're drinking, based on the price, what is in this glass, is it worth it to us? And I would say that this is not anywhere near worth $100 to me.
I would agree.
You might love it, but let's find out what we're drinking.
We are drinking Caribou Crossing. What is that? Is that something like?
Go ahead. Caribou Crossing. Say the rest.
It's 80 proof, and this is thanks to Bill and Delia Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
But is this like something very special?
It's an allocated bottle. It's Canadian.
Is it in the Dentist series?
It's from Sazerac.
Okay.
I believe it's Canadian whiskey.
Okay.
But it's basically bourbon, but you can't call it bourbon because it's made in Canada.
Yeah.
It's made in Canada. Yeah.
Canada.
Instead of the Blanton's bottle, like the Holy Hand Grenade of Bourbon with the little horse on top, it's in the Rock Hill Farms bottle, like the four-sided thing.
Okay.
And then it has a moose topper on it.
Oh.
It's literally the Canadian Blanton's.
Interesting. In Canada, is it as sought after as Blanton's is here in the States?
I don't know. But honestly, this does get put into like allocated drawings and things like that for stores.
Okay.
And people do chase it. And did you do okay on purpose? It sounds like you put a little Canadian draw on it.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
It just caught me off guard.
Sorry about that.
The thing with this bottle is I think it should be about $50, but when I put the pricing in here, sometimes it's the pricing as MSRP. Sometimes, and MSRP fluctuates everywhere. It's hard to find true MSRP. I probably just typed in Canadian or Caribou Crossing in Google and saw that most everywhere was listed for $100 or more.
Okay.
And maybe put that in there, or maybe it is $100 for all I know. I sure hope not. This to me is like,
It's quite pricey.
I mean,
Shall I do a real-time check?
$25 or $30, like I said, for the whiskey that we're tasting. You want to put it in a pretty bottle with a moose topper on it, if that's your thing, and you want to pay 20 more bucks for that, I think that's fine. But I would be interested to hear from you guys down in chat. If you've had Caribou Crossing, what do you think about it? I think it's a single barrel.
Oh, this is saying it's $69.99. However, prices may vary depending on the retailer.
Man, that's a lot of money for 80 proof.
Yeah, so
I mean, it tastes like 80 proof.
Even at $70, I would say it's not for me. I would still be a thumbs down. I would say it's $30. I'd pay $30 and not feel upset about it.
Yeah.
Oh, I see the bottle. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
I see it now.
It's a whole thing. It's the Canadian blends. So
yeah.
There you go.
Interesting. All right.
Dispelling the hype, dispelling the FOMO, dispelling the FOMO, yeah. The fear of missing out. We're dispelling that.
Absolutely.
Because we're tasting blind and we don't have a pretty bottle with a moose topper looking at us. You know, my uncle...
To say, buy me.
My uncle growing up, his nickname was Moose. We all called him Moose.
I do know this.
So I could have some personal affinity for this bottle.
You could.
In memory of Uncle Moose, R.I.P. Uncle Moose. But like, you know, I don't have to worry about that thing going, like the bias that could come from these nostalgic moments because we bust all that. We're bias busters. Like there's myth busters, we're
all right,
bias busters.
We need to wrap this up, man. We're
right.
off the rails.
Before we go any further off the rails, I want to let you know, if you're looking for a really good community of people who love good whiskey, then check out our Patreon. That's also how you can support the channel if you like this content. We urge you, even if it's not us, if there's other channels you watch and they have Patreon communities, or just Patreons period, and even aren't focused on the community aspect like we are, support channels that you enjoy that produce content, because it takes a lot of work. And our Patreon community supporting us means a whole heck of a lot to us.
Absolutely does.
And it makes it possible for us to continue to make these videos like this. So you can support for as little as $3 a month. That gets you plugged into our online community as well. And then we release our barrel picks over there, virtual tastings, pop-up live streams, all kinds of stuff goes on over there. So you can check that out. And if you want some cool shirts like this Batman, Batwoman, Glencairn shirt, some dad hats and other things, check out stuffandwhiskey.com. We got a veritable smattering of wares and goods over there.
That was painful. All right, that's it for today. Be good to each other, y'all. And until next time, cheers.
Cheers. Man. Oh, Canada.
Is that the melody?
I don't know.
I need to learn that and actually sing it properly.
I don't know a lot about Canada. I've been there once.
I've never been, and I would love to go.
Will
you take me there?
Probably not.
Oh. Okay.
I don't necessarily want to go.
I've heard there's different parts are beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know much about it.
I would go to Banff.
I know there's like a bunch of big cities that I always hear about.
I would go to Banff if you wanted to go to like a national park. I want
to go to where Anne of Green Gables lived.
Is that in Canada?
That's somewhere in Canada. Prince Edward Island.
That's a thing.
I want to go there.
I think they have a lot of walruses there.
We should look this up to make sure. We don't want to speak out of turn.
I mean, if you want to get attacked by a rogue walrus, be my guest.
I would love to see a walrus.
Would you?
Yeah.
I'm good. I can go to a zoo or aquarium or somewhere that has walruses.
Walry?
Walry? What's the plural?
I don't know. Walruses, I think.
Okay. Walry is kind of...
I know.
Very confusing, but...
It is. I don't think that's correct. It just sounded funny.
We had a lot of semantics talk on this video.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm not hearing you correctly or if you're not saying things
probably both.
a certain way.
Probably both.
Let's be honest, it's probably more the former than the latter, but...
No. I haven't spoken out loud in many hours, so I need practice.